In just over 100 years, Plano, Texas has gone from a small farming community to a bustling population of nearly 300,000 people. And looking around downtown, you can see that battle between clinging onto history and progress, and the battle it has between each other, who wins out. Which is exactly why I'm here today, to visit the oldest tree in North Texas and to see what the locals are doing to protect it from progress. It's just over that way.
I'm Elliott Bambrough.
Everyone was saying, like, I've got to go and see this tree. Oh my!
I guess you could call me a tree lover.
And I first saw the trees.
I love their history.
It has that impressive canopy and also history attached to it.
Their science.
Trees clean our air, our water.
And the emotional connection people have with them.
To a tree that survived so much, it really hits you.
That's why I'm traveling the country.
I do have another tree to see, and they won't wait for me.
In search of these remarkable tree stories. The next destination in the Lone Star State kept calling my name. Well, actually, you kept calling and emailing me about it, so I knew I had to check it out. The Quincentennial Bur Oak. I made my way to Plano, Texas, where I came across this fantastic bur oak, absolutely full of character, leaning like it was mocking the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And I met up with Steve Hauser, a consulting arborist, professional tree climber, and a representative from the Texas Historic Tree Coalition.
So tell me about this bur oak, our fabulous specimen here, our wonky friend. What's the history?
The first time I looked at the tree was 1987, and we were asked to come out and date the potential age of the tree. So we took some dead limbs out of the tree, counted growth rings on it to determine that the tree was easily 200 years old. At the time, the city put a plaque down at the base proclaiming it to be the Plano's bicentennial Bur Oak. Here during the signing of the Constitution.
That's the first aging of the tree.
That was the first time that the tree was really recognized for being how old it is. So it was 2014, I think. We had a high wind come through here, broke some limbs out. So the city forester called me and said, the old tree's lost some limbs. And I said, well, don't cut them up till I get over there. I've got to get some tree cookies. Tree cookies are a thin slice of the limbs. So I started to count the growth rings on it. The growth rings on this tree, the limb from 45 feet, 226 years old.
So we're gradually getting more closer and closer to the real age of the tree.
Right. So I took it to other friends that are dendrochronologists, and we all determined it easily has to be 400, possibly even over 500, making it the oldest living resident of North Texas.
Thus the name, the Quincentennial Bur Oak. Now, if I'm being honest, when I first hear the words tree cookie, I was kind of hoping Steve was going to offer me a plate full of them, possibly with some milk. But after Steve told me more, I found out that you can learn the age of a tree by counting the light and dark rings, which you'll see on the inside of the wood. Lucky for us, Steve kept that tree cookie from this tree, so I had to go and see it for myself at his office.
So one of the things that I'm curious about, and I've always noticed when we look at this, is the difference in color, and how do you determine what a full year is and what the different markings and designation of coloring means?
You have a set of growth rings that is earlier in the year, usually lighter in color, and then the fall is darker in color. So as we count the growth rings from the outside to the center, we're counting either all the dark rings or the light rings.
So a full year growth for a tree is actual two colors.
Right.
One light for summertime and a darker ring for the fall or winter.
Right. And you start counting 226 to the center.
226.
But you can also see the thickness of the bark. That's what protects it from a lot of things, but especially the fires from long ago.
The thick, corky bark of bur oak trees enable them to withstand fire, but also other damage better than most oaks. They're generally found along stream bottoms, and the wood is heavy, hard, and durable. The trees are very hardy, tolerating drought and city pollution. They also provide deep shade and only have few insect or disease problems. The corky twigs and stout branches give it a picturesque appearance, while the large acorns are highly sought after by wildlife.
The acorns are about this big around. So, you know, I'm not a squirrel, but if I was, that'd be like a big steak dinner, you know?
For our lovely Plano's Quincentennial Bur Oak, it's located in Bob Woodruff Park, which is often referred to as a hardwood bottomland forest, and is historically subject to flooding. The soil is very rich and contains sediment brought in from other areas by heavy rains and flooding. The history of the area is also very rich. Prior to the land becoming a city park, many previous families used land and timber for their farms, but somehow this bur oak tree was spared. Nowadays, this bur oak tree is approximately 90 feet tall, 196 inches in circumference, and has a crown spread of 103 feet.
It's important to remember to bear in mind everything that this tree has seen, from battles and civil war, the signing of the Constitution, every aspect of life in Texas, in this area of northern Texas, that she has taken in and bared witness to and presided over like a proud member of the community. You come here pretty much every day?
Every day.
Every single day?
For the last 16, 17 years.
And it's clearly not just the exercise for your dog that keeps on bringing you back here. What is it?
It's the trees.
Yeah?
Well, we come out to this park and we said, how gorgeous. And then we fell in love with this tree.
What is it about this tree? What is it that drew you straight to it?
And I started asking about the history about this tree, and that fascinated me more about the trees. And they said, well, is there any other tree in the park like this one? And they said, no. This one's been around the longest. The Civil War, everybody was guessing the years. And then I found out that it was about 500 years old. And I said, oh my God, I love this tree. I just love this tree.
The first feeling I get is tinged with sadness. It's impressive to see her. She's enormous, 500 years old, which is incredible. She's patched up. It's a big crack inside. Obviously the lean. It is slight tinged bittersweet because she's clearly at the end. People are doing their best, like Steve, to help her hold on.
It just brings me back to life. I had been sick for a long time, and this is my favorite spot to come in Texas.
Is it soothing for you? Is it therapeutic?
Very, very much, very much.
Clearly the trees love seeing you too.
Yes, yes.
I feel happy just thinking about it.
Yeah, it is wonderful, isn't it?
It's my mission to highlight the importance of trees and the importance of properly watering them so they thrive and survive for generations.
Clearly you love trees, being an arborist, and you love this tree as well, but they do have this therapeutic healing nature to them. They're so calming.
There's more and more research, especially the last 15 or 20 years, that people out in nature, it reduces the stress level.
Right.
Trees clean our air, our water, and our soil. They add greatly to our health, our sense of well-being, our quality of life, and even our economic future in many different ways.
We need more trees. We need more tree champions like you, Steve. It's taken a community to keep this tree still standing. It's people like Steve who have helped to keep it standing upright. A community has supported it, a community has sprouted up around it, and when that day finally comes to pass, when this gorgeous bur oak gives up, when the roots give up and it finally tumbles, please do me one tiny favor. Someone here in Plano or North Texas, check in on Steve. He's gonna need his shoulder to cry on. Anyway, it's time to move on to the next tree.
Healthy trees increase in value with age. They increase property values, beautify communities, purify air, and save energy by providing shade from summer's heat and protection from winter's wind. Properly cared for, the trees we plant today could live for hundreds and hundreds of years. And of course, have their own stories to tell.
You know what? You remind me of a good friend I met in Balboa Park. I could also be meeting Mother Nature in different outfits and different forms all over the country. It's you, isn't it? It's you, isn't it, Mother Nature? It is. She's following me around everywhere on this trip, and I love it.
To keep the trees that you plant thriving, be sure to check out Rainbird's 3 essential tools for tree health. Visit rainbird.com/tree stories for details.